Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. That's the voice of Ric Bucher. New Orleans is out of the playoffs. They're shutting all their guys down for the last game. Yep. I just wonder, what now for that organization?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to something that I was told going into this, which was while the league and fans and everybody was excited about the Pelicans possibly making the playoffs and extending the season and more of Zion, that was never really a heartfelt desire by the New Orleans Pelicans as a whole. I'm not going to say that some of the players, Al Gentry, I don't know definitively that it was a conscious, collective, concerted effort, but I do know that there were mixed feelings about the value of just going to the wall to try to gain a playoff spot and how to use Zion, because the reality is, and you talked about it, I know you see it, Doug. I don't know how many people, mainstream fans, grasp it, but Zion isn't ready to play extensive minutes in an NBA game. And once again, we took Instagram posts and photos and Zion, and everybody got all excited, hot and bothered. Look, he's in shape. He took a photo and he looks good. And then you get a guy on the court and you find out that how you look in a picture is not necessarily how you look running up and down, going 100 miles an hour. And so I look at it, and the result kind of reminds me of what I was told from the very beginning, which was the Pelicans would be perfectly okay with going down there, getting some time in, getting some work in, but that advancing or making the playoffs or grabbing that eighth spot really wasn't top of mind, wasn't an absolute priority for the franchise. So I believe that this was planned, and the idea is, okay, let's look at what we've got. And the number one thing is, how do we develop Zion? How do we get him in physically better shape? Everything trickles down from there. You have to make a decision on, one, how you're going to do that, and then how he fits into the rest of your team. And that for me is the first and last and only thing that the Pelicans really need to concentrate on this offseason.
Ric Bucher from Bleach Report joining us. Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. There is some beef between the Clippers and the Blazers. Let me start with the Blazers. I know Barkley was told to make a bold prediction. He said that the Blazers are going to beat the Lakers.
Yes, and now he's doubled down.
Now he's
the Blazers winning the championship.
Yes, now he's doubled down. I like the Blazers story, but they were beaten by the Clipper backups, and they have no good matchup for LeBron James. None. They have nobody. I feel like everybody's missing how bad a matchup that is.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's going to have a huge influence on that series. I also think it's going to. It's why I think the Lakers should win the series, but it is going to require a lot of effort and energy from LeBron James to do that, and more effort and energy than he's used to giving in first-round series. If you go and look at his history, only the Pacers took him to 7 games. Otherwise, it's been 4-game sweep, 5-game sweep, and it wasn't a whole lot of heavy lifting for him. So I don't see the Blazers necessarily knocking them off. Although the way the Lakers are playing collectively, I can't completely discount it, because I do think there are some matchups that the Blazers can exploit. I think their bigs overall are better. I'll be interested to see, how they approach Anthony Davis, and if you're asking Anthony Davis to go win you a series, or just a game or two in a series, how that's going to happen. So there are reasons for me to think that would be a very competitive series. But even if the Lakers do end up winning and it's merely competitive and not fatal, I still think it's going to take something out of LeBron James that the Lakers would prefer not to have taken out of him.
No question. What is wrong with the Lakers?
One, it's taking them a while to get restarted. I think some of that is because of their age, and honestly, I got to come down. It all comes back to LeBron James, And I think you said it, and I think you rightly said it. We give him all the credit in the world. He was at the top of my MVP ballot because for the regular season, I thought he had the most to do with the Lakers winning the West, which no one ever would have thought they could. And if you take him away, I don't think they come close to doing that. So there is that. But ultimately, the way that he has approached this, where he's being very judicious in how much energy he's exerting, he's not shooting the three ball well, he's settling at times for shots. And there's been this effort to like get Anthony Davis going and some other guys going, or to have them carry the load. And so they're fractured right now because those guys are not there. Danny Green isn't ready to play. I mean, he's I think 32. He's an old 32. It takes a while to get that engine started up again. Anthony Davis goes as the team goes. If the team plays well, he will play well. And that's not just for this year. That's been every year that Anthony Davis has played. When the team is going well, he is going to amplify and supplement that. When it's not, you don't look to him to pick up a team that's dragging and get them somewhere. It's just simply not what he has been. So now LeBron is not really on his game, his A game, and he's looking for other guys to step up, and they're simply not there. And keep in mind, this is also, you take out Rajon Rondo, you take out Avery Bradley. I know those aren't big names, but you could always look to somebody somewhere who was going to give you something, and you could spin the roulette wheel, and it was going to come up on somebody. Well, now the guys that are there are not coming through, and you have less choices to pick from to say, okay, well, this guy doesn't have it going. Maybe I can go to this guy. And the last time we saw them, Avery Bradley had it going pretty well, and it, I think, covered up a lot of other issues that they had.
No, I agree with you on all parts of that, and I wonder with this flawed team what it looks like when you get to the playoffs. Even though I love that Portland matchup, it's like at some point in time he gets worn down, and the stats will show you when he doesn't play at a high level, they're not very good, and vice versa.
High efficient level, and at both ends of the floor. They're just simply they're not the same player and same team. And by the way, for anybody, the Lakers fans out there are saying, "Hey, we clinched the number 1 seed. It's the bubble. These don't count. When we turn the lights on, that's when we'll get going." This is not that, because I would give you that if we were playing continuously. But you're coming off of a 3-month layoff, and you need to get back to playing the way you did before. You don't just – I don't know that you ever can just flip that switch, but you certainly can't flip that switch after 3 months. What you did during the regular season means nothing at this point. There is absolutely no guarantee that when we get to the first round, that the Lakers are suddenly going to start playing again the same way we saw them playing in February and March. There is the idea that all they have to do is buckle down and focus. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, they're not good enough to hit the flip the switch, right? That's
Nope.
not. They are not good enough to flip the switch at all. Ben Simmons is hurt again. Mm-hmm. And so I like for the longest time it was, hey, I like Embiid as a unique breakthrough player, but I'm afraid he's going to be hurt. And the argument with Simmons is attitude. Do guys like him? How hard does he work? And now it feels to be the opposite, right? Embiid sometimes doesn't bring it, and it's Ben Simmons who's always hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, look, here's the heart of the issue. And Terry Stotts said it about Damian Lillard. Your best player has to be your hardest worker.
Yep.
And
you are who your best player is, by the way. That there's another way of expressing it. If your best player is a hard worker, your team will work hard. If your best player is soft, your team's going to be soft, et cetera, et cetera.
And if your best player accepts criticism and steps up, if you can coach your best player, then you're going to go somewhere as well. And you need no more. You don't need to know any more about the flaw in the Philadelphia 76ers in that Ben Simmons has had all this time to develop a jump shot, and that his coach has asked him to develop a jump shot and has protected him from criticism of not having a jump shot. And still Ben Simmons has acted as if it is not a requisite for him as a point guard or a floor leader or simply to make the 76ers as good as they can be to get a jump shot. Who else, how does Brett Brown or anybody in the Sixers organization go to anybody else on that team and say, you know what, you need to do this better. You need to develop this in your game. When your leader, your best player, arguably, has not done that. And then if you go to the next guy, and I've always said, I would move Simmons and I would build around Embiid because I think he's talent-wise, he's the best player at his position. But Embiid is, as you noted, he's the same way. He's not necessarily the hardest worker. He's another guy we saw photos of during the break about how conditioned he was, and I watch him play, and I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing a guy who's ultra conditioned, and so that's where it starts. I mean, whether it's Embiid or whether it's Simmons, Philadelphia fans don't want to hear this, and I hate saying it because they lost for 4 years to get this. This if you think this is going to get you a championship, you're sadly mistaken. You might as well blow it up and start over again because you're not winning a championship with Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons as the best player on your team.
I tend to agree with you. If there's one team that can come out of the East not named the Bucks, it's who?
I'm still going to say the Toronto Raptors, even though I really didn't like the way they looked in the matchups with the Boston Celtics. I do think a lot of these playoffs are going to be determined by who sees who when, that matchups are going to play a big role. But I look at the versatility of the Raptors and I look at their mindset for the most part and their experience, their collective experience in the playoffs. They seem to be healthy. There's a resolve there that I like the Miami Heat. I don't think they have enough dribble penetration. I don't think they have that one guy who sets everything else up, and they're relying on a lot of young guys who've never played a playoff game before. So I really can't go there. So I'm going to stick with the Toronto Raptors as my dark horse pick if a defending champion can be that.
Awesome stuff. Toronto Raptors would be fascinating. I don't know what it looks like in the postseason, what it looks like in those specific matchups. Because it's such a different sport. Buke, great stuff as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
You got it, Doug.
All right, that's Ric Bucher from Bleacher Report. It's the Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Coming up next, we will get to the press. And, we got a lot of stories that Dan Byer's going to get to. We'll cover them on the Doug Gottlieb Show.